Good morning, everybody. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead 16 minutes until we get started here. I got to go shut that light off. All right, back on the attack here. How's everybody? How are people doing here today? Morning, Dave. Waylon, good morning. I'm running behind today, which is okay. What do we said here? Morning, Brian. All righty. I'm actually not behind. It's 6:51. Good grief. Got plenty of time. Oh, boy, the wind picked up yesterday afternoon, didn't it? Holy moly. Got to be dirty. Mr. Bulgy, good morning. Morning, Mr. Mayor. I believe Wayne Muth was hunting this morning, I think. As he should be, right? Maybe not. I got your text yesterday, but I was in the middle of loading loading some cows up, so morning, Mr. Levi Nelson. Luckiest guy in the North Dakota. Okay, I think I have that up to date. Hi, morning, Karen. The beautiful Mobridge area. I think had the opportunity to take father, daughter. Daughter was 18 years old, first pronghorn tag, and got to take them out here. I'll talk John a little bit about that here today. And good gal, good folks. Different way of gutting an antelope, definitely different. I haven't seen it done that way before. Let's see. Morning, one shot cap here, Brian. Too soft, I guess. 50 degrees last night watching Richardson and Elgin game. Damn near froze. It got cold last night. Here's the thing is, we went from honestly, it was like 92 degrees here that one day. And within 24 hours, it was like the high was like 52. And I'm not a big fan of the cold weather. I mean, I can keep a stocking cap on, I bet you, almost all damn year long. So anyway, I have no problem with that. I don't understand why they don't have like football start when even track season, it gets pretty cold some of those days. It'd be a great summer thing. Like, I would love to go to a football game on a Friday night in the middle of summer where a guy could sit back and just relax in the nice evening weather. My Magic Mike. Good morning, man. Is it close to 6? I'll do a 6:55 countdown if you guys want. I don't think I got to do it at 7 o'clock, but sometimes I forget. What else? I had somebody ask me a question about Mike Wagner. I can't remember what it was. It'll come to me. Oh, how many years, Mike? How many years have you been with K-Fire? All right, 6:55, ladies and gentlemen, coming up on Mark. 32 Fahrenheit in November is always colder than the 32 in March. That is true. That is true. I agree with you. It's because you're not acclimated to it yet, right? I mean, isn't that right? 15 years, began August of 2010. Wow. Really? I thought you were there longer than that. I'll be damned. Morning, Eric. That puts me at 20 years being on K-Fire radio. No, it takes me. No, I started my outdoor program way earlier. Of course, it started out of Brookings, South Dakota, of course, but all right. Oh, I better get my latest dates up here. There was a lot of road hunters out yesterday while we were. Was that opening pheasant season or what the hell's going on here? Let's see what's going on there because I doubt it. Why would they be pheasant hunting in my area though? It had to be grouse hunters. I know they had a lot of shotguns with them, so couldn't have been that. By golly, no. So the regular season opens up today. Wonder what they must have been going after grouse then. Interesting. There was a ton of hunters, and out of the 5-6 groups of hunters on the gravel roads, only one of them's like parked on the road, and we had to try to sneak by him with the cattle pots. One was absolutely great, pulled over into and we were coming down a steep hill, coming down into the Little Missouri River, and he actually pulled off and onto an approach. And when I came through, I gave him the motion, I waved, and then I gave him the whole South Dakota. If you'd ever done trails down there, you tell how many riders are behind you. And I told him there was 2 more pots coming behind, and by God, he just stood there and waited for it. That was really nice of him. Tried some ivermectin last night, put a CC in some whiskey. Yep. It makes you go gray. Tell you that. But other than that, so does stress, I guess. So it could be a little bit of both. But anyway, I've it's been very rare, and it's documented on every one of my YouTube shows here that for the last 5 years I haven't. If I missed one for branding or something, okay. I don't think I've been sick on a whole lot of them, so it's pretty good. You're already great. Good. Then you don't have to worry about it. All right. Opening pheasant today. I'll be darned. It's one thing I don't have to worry a whole lot, like down by Scranton area and Mott, Regent. I think over in the other side of the river by Wahpeton and Strasburg area, they got quite a bit of pheasant hunting, pheasant hunters over there. South Dakota, pretty much anything east of the river. And there's some on the west side too, I guess. But yeah. I haven't done a pheasant. I think the last pheasant hunting I did was with the Petroleum Council. And that was it. Let's see what South Dakota's here. They got to be coming up here, or they already open. Resident today and everybody tomorrow. Okay. So they give the residents a week ahead of time. All right, Waylon, we haven't hunted birds at the farm for 10 years. Finally got the jugglers to steer hunting. And are you having a stroke, Waylon? Finally got the jugglers to steer hunting in. I don't want to get it. Residents only today on public land. Okay. Cool. I'm telling you, I love pheasant hunting. When I was living in Brookings, I used to go out by myself pheasant hunting a lot. Hello from Amarillo, Wayne, shooting at the world champions. Woo, look at you. Retirement is treating you well. Famous television star, magazine editor, or contributing star. All right, 8 o'clock Central Time coming up here on Mark. Let's see what old Johnny Arman's up to. Get that ready. Turn that down.
Hello.
What is up, legend?
Wind.
Really?
Yeah, it's windier and shit here already.
Oh, well, you
I
must
don't.
have. You must be getting what we had yesterday afternoon and last night.
Oh, did you have a lot of wind yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. It was the second round of shipping calves and cows. Holy moly, it was pretty windy.
Yeah, they're talking like 30 miles an hour here today.
Yeah, we're looking at like 10 to 20. It's less than it was yesterday, but tomorrow's supposed to be ugly.
Yeah.
Supposed to get rained over in
Yeah.
Eric's place. Okay, over there. Yeah, I seen that on the map here this morning. I got up at 4 o'clock and I was looking where everything was in North and South Dakota for rain wise, and there were some spots here. And then they're calling for snow in the northern part of North Dakota on Sunday. So here we are, that time of year.
Yeah, it's always on the weekend. The only time I get to hunt, and it's been shitty weather, shitty everything. It's like no deer movement, windy, hot, whatever.
Okay, so that's by choice. You can retire teaching anytime.
No, I can't. I wish I could.
Well, what if
I
you?
need.
I got it. Why don't you be the person that does all the homeschooling? That everybody brings it to you, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just hunt Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a lot less windy this morning. It looks pretty good outside, actually. So.
No, that's good because it's like I said, I'm up on a hill right now in the Ranger, and it's like whipping.
Whip it real good.
Yep.
Well.
Yep. How have you been?
I've been pretty good. I had a little horse wreck the other day, and kind of got my groin/pelvic area pretty hard, so I'm a little bit stiff. Yesterday was very interesting trying to get around and load cattle, but one of the 3 herds are done, so next weekend is the final weekend. I get my calves shipped into town, and yeah, should be good.
Well, good. Yeah, the prices are good.
Prices are good. I don't mind that. Hopefully they think that my calves are worth that much as well.
Yeah, I was just listening. I don't know what I was listening to, and they're talking about is it too good? It's like, are we going to price ourselves out of selling cattle? Because, they were talking about going to restaurants and paying attention to what people are eating. A freaking steak at a restaurant now is not cheap.
No.
It's like, it's got to be.
But if you look at neither is chicken or pork. I mean, along with all the menu prices, everything else went up with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, look at Lemon Livestock. Rowdy Benson did a good thing on Lemon Livestock Facebook page. He had a great little discussion about this and gave his opinion on what he feels is going on. I recommend everybody look at that. Lemon Livestock, Rowdy Benson, and just talks about the markets. He's like, everybody's complaining, say that we're at the lowest level of cattle number and inventory right now, right?
Right.
And he says, but look in our area. Look at all your neighbors, John. There's no extra grass or nobody's short on numbers around our area. There's nobody looking. There's nobody like, well, we can't get anybody to rent our grass. So I mean, this must be in our area. It's not like that. So, but he goes on and talks a little bit more in depth, and since he has his pulse on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the thing that's kicking our butts is input cost. Look what mineral has went up to, fencing supplies, fuel. If you do any forage or any of that, the seed and the fertilizer and the equipment cost, a baler, just a basic round baler costs over $100,000 right now. Look at what a vehicle costs, 70, 80 grand for just a plain vehicle. And I think that everything's just moving up, and now the government wants to get involved, and that's a whole nother story. They want to help with the ranching, help with the it's like, please stay away. So please stay away. All right, we are about 35 seconds away, John. Here, I'll turn you down. And station's 30 seconds to go on mark. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio Network on a Saturday edition. Good to have you along all across the Dakota Territory and great radio stations from the Canadian border to Nebraska. As we are in KCJB in Minot, the Western Edge KLTC and 106.9. Thank you, guys. Also, the celebrating 100 years in the radio industry, K-Fire 550 out of Bismarck, Mandan. The fishing capital of the world in Mobridge, KOLY. And of course, our friends in the capital city in Pierre, South Dakota, at KGFX, and many, all of the affiliates that carry my daily program. Thank you so much for being around. And you can always follow me on my YouTube channel, Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV joins me again here this morning on a beautiful Saturday. You said it's not as beautiful where you're sitting at, John, right now, but welcome to opening pheasant season for North Dakota and for South Dakota residents only. Their regular season opens up for everybody starting next week, but it's pheasant season. And I don't know, like I was shipping cattle yesterday. There was a lot of people grouse hunting around my area, but maybe they're going after the grouse because they're a little bit speedier. So when they come up on a pheasant, it seems like it's a little easier. But
because it's not going to be very easy today with this wind. You better get them right away.
That's true. It depends on where you're at and everything. What have you been seeing on your ranch for pheasant?
It's the numbers have actually been climbing back up.
Good.
I think naturally, Mother Nature has been good. We've had some good hatches in the last couple of years. I mean, I'm seeing some that are, you always think, boy, are they going to make it? Because they must have been, a hatch that came a little bit later. Maybe the nest got wrecked by raccoons or whatever, but there's some little gippers out there. But I've seen partridge. I haven't seen partridge, and usually we have two. Now I've seen a couple flocks of them. Nice. I saw some little ones. I've seen some little grouse. So all in all, it looks pretty good. Maybe we're kind of back on the mend for bird hunting.
The grouse numbers around here are just phenomenal. Pheasant, there's not much pheasant in the Badlands, right? I mean, there might be a few here and there, maybe a handful, but overall, you don't see them like you see in my buddy down by Scranton. I think I feel sorry for him today because I feel that all of the section line roads are going to have people driving everywhere on it today. And that's how it is now. Isn't it crazy how it's changed over the years? And let's talk about this. What is you've been pheasant hunting? I mean, right? Number one shotgun to go pheasant hunting with, or give me your top three if you have a top three.
I guess I grew up. Frog myself. Excuse me. I grew up shooting a 12 gauge Remington 870. I'm automatic 3. You got to have 3 rounds. These guys shooting double barrels. I know a lot of these gentlemen shoot double barrels, but you only got 2 shots. You might as well go with 3. So I'm a 870s. And then I just graduated to, I bought a Winchester. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a semi-automatic, which is fun to shoot. So I know a lot of guys shoot 20 gauges. There's guys that still shoot 16 gauges. I think anything you want to shoot for pheasants, you're going to have a good time. And again, like I said, I'm automatic 3. I want 3 shells, not 2.
Okay. So anybody listening here, you can either live chat with me what your number one upland game bird shotgun is, or you can text me at here at 701-425-6651. That again, 701-425-6651. Yeah. Okay. So Waylon says a 410 is challenging. And I told this story many times. My mom made me start with a 410 before I could buy my shotgun, my 12 gauge. I wanted a Mossberg 500 in the worst way, John. And there used to be, and maybe there still is, a hardware store in Elgin, North Dakota that had a little flyer. And she said I had to shoot at least one pheasant with my 410 before. And when I did, it was a happy day. I mean, it still sticks out in my mind. So I still have that. It's actually leaning in the corner right there on my YouTube channel. So I got to stick with the Mossberg on that. 870, absolutely. But I'm also one of those double barrel guys. I got into the side by side. I found one at a gun show years and years ago, an old Stevens side by side shotgun. And so I went out and used that quite a bit. And then I got into the, what was that? Mossberg Silver Reserve over under. But nothing shot as good as a gun that I won at a Friends of NRA event. It's a Franchi. Is it Franchi or Frankie or however they pronounce that? Semi-auto, my first ever semi-auto shotgun. And you're right, 3 shots, and man, it just is sweet. The recoil, there's nothing there, and it's just a really, really like shooting with butter. So, but I haven't been pheasant hunting. I bet you 8-9 years.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. We used to do it hard. Probably 12, 15 years ago, when the numbers were really good out west, and every year we'd go out there at the end of the season and spend a couple weekends out there. But I get so caught up in big game hunting that pheasants are kind of a flyby, and I don't have a dog anymore, and having a dog makes pheasant hunting just a little bit more enjoyable. You can go out by yourself. But it is still, it's one of those things that I hope I get back into as I age gracefully. Maybe I can still get out there.
Gracefully.
Yeah, that's the only way you can look at it. I don't know if there's anything graceful. I just turned 61, and I'm not seeing anything graceful about it.
Yeah. Well, 870 seems very popular. People texting and sending things in here. 870. Eric says, sometimes used my dad's Ted Williams. Holy cow, I haven't heard of that in a long time. The mayor says, I have a CZ ring neck. That's a side-by-side, single trigger, and 28 gauge. So,
I've heard that. I think a lot of guys, it's kind of like you see bow hunters, they go from compound to recurve. I think guys with shotguns, if they get nostalgic, and then they'll go back to the old Model 12. I got guys that have done that. And then you see guys going, goose hunting is too easy, so then they go out with a single shot, 410. And, again, whatever floats your boat, go out and have fun. I think the 870, one of the reasons the guys, an 870, you can take goose hunting, you can drop in the mud and just shake that thing out, and you just got to pump it a little bit harder.
Yep.
And they seem to be bomb-proof. And they were,
absolutely.
They were a pretty inexpensive gun when I was a kid. I think we, maybe spent a couple $100 on it, and I still have mine from when I was 14 years old.
Yeah, 870, you can use it as a paddle in a canoe and then go shoot something with it at the same time. So Eric says from South Dakota, says, I thought pheasant, you could have the plug out so it could hold 5. So in South Dakota, yes, you are correct.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And North Dakota, you can only have 3. So, and I know that I learned this the hard way because I took my plug out when I was living in South Dakota, and I lost it. Right. And when I moved back to North Dakota, I had to cut a pencil and shove a pencil down in there and put that back in that way. So, yeah, you are correct on that. One says a 20 gauge Benelli. Montefeltro. Okay. And Brian says, I got a Model 12, kicks like a mule, but if you do your part, it does its part too. So, yeah. Model 12. But I tell you, now I got to go through, I got to go and try to dig out my old side-by-side and carry it in my pickup. But I'm not I ate so much pheasant back in the late 1900s that I'm not so keen on it like a lot of people are anymore. I kind of had to use it to live on. So anyway, John, we're up against our first break. I have a great antelope hunting story that we're going to share here coming up here with a young gal who got her first one. We'll talk about that and more. It's all coming around the corner here on Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition. Glad to be part of the radio family and the YouTube family as well. Thank you, guys. We'll be back after a few words from our great sponsors through all these years.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these incredible Piper's exclusive land auctions. On October 16th, Piper's will offer 633 acres of grazing land in Fallon County. Offered in a single parcel, it features incredible native grasses, good perimeter fence, and natural stock dams, pipeline water, and Cabin Creek. Piper's will also offer over 2,500 acres of grassland, hayland, and hunting land in Bowman and Slope counties on December 10th. Located near Marmouth on the edge of the Badlands with excellent grazing and incredible wildlife habitat along Little Beaver Creek. All auction details and online bidding can be found at pipers.com.
I'm Dale Falke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, where local banking is as comfortable as your favorite pair of work boots. Step into our branches and experience a friendly atmosphere, personalized service, and financial expertise. Whether you're a hardworking farmer, a small business owner, or a local resident, we've got the banking solutions that you need. So kick off your boots and let us take care of your financial needs at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing because we understand the business of creating relationships is more than an interest rate. Agriculture is a foundation to the community, and we are here to help your operation expand, grow, and continue to the next generation. Talk to our ag lending team today.
Community looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these incredible Piper's exclusive land auctions. On October 16th, Piper's will offer 633 acres of grazing land in Fallon County. Offered in a single parcel, it features incredible native grasses, good perimeter fence, and natural stock dams, pipeline water, and Cabin Creek. Piper's will also offer over 2,500 acres of grassland, hayland, and hunting land in Bowman and Slope counties on December 10th. Located near Marmouth on the edge of the Badlands with excellent grazing and incredible wildlife habitat along Little Beaver Creek. All auction details and online bidding can be found at pipers.com.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes,
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors on a Saturday. It's going to be a good one here. I suppose depends on where you're at in the Dakota Territory. Sun's rising up pretty nicely. John Arman is my guest here on today's program from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. We still got a few text messages. It says a 1963 Winchester Model 12 16 gauge, Beretta 20 gauge, or Benelli 12 gauge. I never really got into the Benellis a whole lot there, John. I just didn't have the right feel when I tried to shoot a couple of them. So
I've just never been an over and under guy. I'm not a gentleman. They say that's a gentleman's gun, so I can't carry one.
Brian's, Eric says, got my first 12 gauge that I bought when I was 16, was a Mossberg 835 and used 3.5-inch shells. Got popular, yeah. I usually used, what was it, inch, 1.25 ounce, usually 5-shot. I always liked that 5-shot for some reason.
I did too.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to antelope season. Pronghorn antelope, I should say, for the folks down in the southern states that have more than one species of antelope. I had a very, very enjoyable afternoon on Thursday. And Pastor Justin out of Beulah came down here with his daughter, Kiana. And she had her very first, she was 18 years old, got her out of school, which I think that's awesome. Take her out of school because we're going hunting.
Yep.
And the 18-year-old gal, and just a nice family, and got them on some antelope. And it took a while, right? I mean, we took a lot of shots, and they were given kind of some long ranger shots. So I had her switch over to my rifle and played with that a little bit. And we took time and we started shooting at some clay banks and rocks to kind of get her comfortable using that. And I tell you what, they were just not giving you anything under 500 yards. So we finally found a smaller group, and they put a spot in the stock on when I just sat and waited for them, and I heard a few shots, and this gal, she ended up having to take a 320-yard shot, was as close as they could get, and she ended up getting a nice doe antelope. It was what a nice afternoon, because they weren't worried about, it wasn't like, hey, we have to get one. It was like, it's going to be nice, but it was just a nice afternoon of conversation and scouting and going after some speed goats. It's
awesome.
Yeah, it's just it was fun, to see, especially a young gal like that. You don't see many gals out here in the Badlands and in my area doing a whole lot of hunting anymore. And I say young is like 18, right? I mean, that's like still milk on the mustache young.
Yeah, like I said, it was funny. I teach elementary school, and there in the class, I was in a 5th grade class, and I think there was one student out of 25 that hunted.
Yeah.
So things are changing, on the landscape with families. I don't know if it's, people always blame it on access. I don't think it's access. I think it's just the way the world is right now. As kids are with video games, with sports, it's like
sports is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's year round for these kids. They don't get when we were kids, man. We couldn't wait as soon as football practice was over. We were hunting. And as soon as I can remember getting into the championship game, and we were still sweaty, and we were in the pickup heading down to the ranch to go deer hunting. So, and there's still kids that are like that, but I think that there's fewer and fewer kids because I think everybody's so busy, they just don't take the time to get out anymore.
So I asked this young gal how many kids at Beulah High School in the senior class go hunting. She says maybe like 3 or 4, which was surprised me there was that many gals, but I said, what do you think the low numbers are? And she said, one of her things was, well, a lot of these families are in town and they don't have land to go out and hunt on. And and you just brought up too, everybody kind of blames access. Well, there's a million acres of Forest Service, right? I mean, there's access.
Yeah.
Some of it you have to south of the interstate. If they don't have, the Forest Service didn't get easements, you got to ask permission to cross private to get to a lot of it. But just ask, right? I mean, all these guys did it. They called me, and
right. And
it wasn't like they didn't get, they were good about it. They called early and they asked, and here's what was really nice about it. They said, when would you be able to take us and go around? Right. And instead of saying, well, we're going to come down on this day. And like I told them, I said, skip the opening weekend because it's just a rat race on opening weekend. I said, but if you could come like during the weekday or something, he's like, wow, we'd have to take her out of school. I'm like, is that an issue? And he's like, it really isn't an issue because she's not in sports.
Right.
Right. So she didn't have to worry about missing a practice or missing a game or anything. And she did some school in the morning and they busted out and got down here by noon and we were done. And by that evening, they were on their way back with a dough in the back of their Suburban. So it worked
That's
really nice.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, all you have to do sometimes is ask, but I think there's a right way and a wrong way to ask permission too.
Oh, yes. I mean, again, I get frustrated because when I hear people say that there's nowhere to hunt, I know access is getting tougher because it's harder for me to get on certain places like out of state. But with, I have all that river bottoms, the core land that runs along the Missouri River.
Yep.
I don't see anybody hunting down there anymore.
Yep.
And I know we lost a lot of deer, but there's pheasants, there's rabbits, there's everything down there, coyotes. And then as far as landowners go, it's building relationships. I just was out in Montana, was able to hunt a nice ranch with some people and elk hunted and shot a nice bull archery hunting. And it was, I would say 50% because I knew the right people that introduced me to them, and then 50% because I was there working cattle with them and stayed in touch with them.
Yeah.
And when I asked the gentleman, I said, hey, I know this is a coveted tag and you guys hunt it and you got family members. And I wasn't going to ask because I didn't want you to feel like I came out here and worked cattle just to, elk hunt. But I said, if I don't ask, someone else may ask and then I'm going to get left out, And I just said, here's the deal. I said, if you have room for me, I would love to come out. If there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know. And left it at that. And then they invited me out there. And now, again, this is not going to be just a one and done as far as me hunting there. I may never hunt elk there again, but we're going to be friends for the rest of our lives because they were just absolutely amazing people. The breakfast, lunch, I don't think I ate any of my food because they cooked and always, there was dinner. It was, like the old days where people took care of you. They were happy to have you there, even joined in on a Bible study in the morning with them. Just super salt of the earth people.
Yeah. And is access getting tougher? We're going to discuss a lot of this during the second half of the program. I think it's being created. I think access is being denied, but it's being created by some of the tag systems that are being introduced. And we'll cover that in the second half of the program. All right, couple of text messages here. Gene says, keep kids out of school for hunting or shooting events. You're better educating the kid about that outside in the outdoors than you are in the classroom. Josh says, my son found a nice spot on some national grasslands, and he has been grinding it. He got on some deer muleys and whitetails. He passed on a 4x4 muley with his bow the other day. So, there's access to get in there. But you're right. You're going to have to grind sometimes. And it's not always, hey, I can just drive up there and scout from the Ranger or my pickup. Sometimes you should have to get out and put some boots to the ground. And I think that's changed quite a bit over the years too. Everybody wants to just scout from their vehicle.
Well, and again, I think just the work ethic in general in our world. When we were kids, it wasn't even work for us. We just went out and walked miles, whatever. If it was for rabbits, skunks, it didn't make a difference. We just were out there having fun. And I think that's the difference is that it's kind of like sports nowadays. How many times do you see someone playing out on a playground in a pickup game? There's no pickup.
Oh, you might get injured. You can't do that. Yeah.
Right. You got to be in your brand new sneakers and going down the road, spending thousands of dollars. And I think that's kind of the same with hunting. Hunting has turned into, it's like everything's got to be perfect instead of just going out and just having fun, grabbing your BB gun, grabbing your bow and arrow and going to the local wood lot or whatever and just having a good time. It doesn't have to be a planned trip or special. It's just having fun.
All right. You brought something up. We'll cover it in the second half of the hour. More right after these messages.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these incredible Piper's exclusive land auctions. On October 16th, Piper's will offer 633 acres of grazing land in Fallon County. Offered in a single parcel, it features incredible native grasses, good perimeter fence, and natural stock dams, pipeline water, and Cabin Creek. Piper's will also offer over 2,500 acres of grassland, hayland, and hunting land in Bowman and Slope counties on December 10th. Located near Marmouth on the edge of the Badlands with excellent grazing and incredible wildlife habitat along Little Beaver Creek. All auction details and online bidding can be found at pipers.com.
I'm Dale Falke with Dakota Community Bank and Trust, where local banking is as comfortable as your favorite pair of work boots. Step into our branches and experience a friendly atmosphere, personalized service, and financial expertise. Whether you're a hardworking farmer, a small business owner, or a local resident, we've got the banking solutions that you need. So kick off your boots and let us take care of your financial needs at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, bowmanlivestockmarketing.com. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schrieffer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's your tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated.
For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing because we understand the business of creating relationships is more than an interest rate. Agriculture is a foundation to the community, and we are here to help your operation expand, grow, and continue to the next generation. Talk to our ag lending team today.
Community looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
Join Piper's Auctioneers for these incredible Piper's exclusive land auctions. On October 16th, Piper's will offer 633 acres of grazing land in Fallon County. Offered in a single parcel, it features incredible native grasses, good perimeter fence, and natural stock dams, pipeline water, and Cabin Creek. Piper's will also offer over 2,500 acres of grassland, hayland, and hunting land in Bowman and Slope counties on December 10th. Located near Marmouth on the edge of the Badlands with excellent grazing and incredible wildlife habitat along Little Beaver Creek. All auction details and online bidding can be found at pipers.com.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes,
Welcome back, everybody, to Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition, coming live and local. I say local because I tell you what, I mean, if you're in from my place to Sioux Falls, I still think that's a local drive. People, neighbors are a different thing, John, when you have to go an hour just to get your mail. So, all right. So before we went into break, where you were discussing, different animals, different hunting, and everybody sometimes, I think it's this stigma that hunting only means deer hunting or elk hunting or pheasant hunting or pronghorn hunting. Nobody, my first animal I ever arrowed was a rabbit, cottontail. Nobody does squirrel hunting anymore around. I don't know anybody that does it. I don't even know many people that go after mourning doves anymore. So there's a lot of different hunting that doesn't have to be expensive. And is it becoming, you're saying parents spend so much money on sports. Are they just used to, it's like, you know what, if we're going to go deer hunting, it's going to be, we're going to have this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and it just becomes an expensive thing.
Well, like you said, it can be. It's like playing golf. You can go spend $100 at the country club, or you can go and spend $0 in your backyard and hit your golf balls, and still have fun. And I think, with sports, it used to be where we would play pickup games and you'd go play, and it didn't make a difference if you had a T-shirt on. I can remember my first white T-shirt with red tape on it with my number. And nowadays, these kids are going to Georgia. They're going all over and spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And I think sometimes people think hunting has got to be that way too, where you got to go, and they miss out on the, when we were kids, we were shooting, we went into the barn and shot sparrows. We shot mice.
Yeah.
We cut our teeth on that kind of stuff. Probably a lot of it wasn't legal, but we didn't know any different. We were just kids. And we got into the rabbit hunting and the squirrel hunting. And, then we got into the small game. There's so much emphasis put on big game. And I guess it's a gradual thing you get into. But like I said, mourning doves, I saw thousands and thousands of mourning doves out here. And I never one time saw anybody hunting them.
No. So I'm going to ask you this, and this is running that fine line here, buddy, having a TV show. Are these TV shows, especially on the national side, are they, I don't know what you call it, are they making it look like big game is the only way to go? For a lot of these kids, because a lot of these kids are watching these shows and they love them. And I think they're great too, but are they portraying that, honestly, is a sponsor going to want you to go out and shoot a rabbit? I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing is, a guy just saw on one of our posts, which we'll get into about gratis tags. The guy was saying guys like me should have to pay $3,000 and every person has a YouTube channel because they're wrecking hunting for everybody. And again, last time I checked, this is the United States of America, and you have a right to do a lot of this stuff. It's called, entrepreneurship and
freedom of speech,
freedom of speech, and all that stuff. And you can get out there and do it. But again, I always, people, it's like, would you rather watch me go catch a bunch of fish, or you want me to shoot an elk? And that's what people, you kind of hunt what people want to see. But I also enjoy hunting the big game over the birds and stuff. I shot a lot of birds and I still enjoy it. But I've just graduated to where I like the challenge of hunting big game, because it's, 1 in 100 times you actually pull the trigger. And again, I've always said that if I wanted to be filming and only film, I'd go hunt geese and ducks and pheasants, because there's not many times you go out and you're not successful.
Right.
Because your limits are more liberal and things like that, and they make good shows, and we try to do them all. And one day, maybe if I'm still doing it when I retire, I'll get to do more of it. But when I only have weekends to hunt, I choose a lot of times to go chase a deer.
Yeah. Josh comments, my son and I love to hunt doves, squirrels, and other small game. It's been out there hunting with my boys, what makes it more enjoyable for me. Boy, isn't that the truth, right? I mean, yeah.
And how many guys get turned down for asking to go dove hunting or squirrel hunting?
Never had anybody ask ever. Right,
and that's the thing, is it? Well, again, I've said that it's kind of funny how people complain about. It's easy to complain about things, especially nowadays on social media. Where in the old days, you probably didn't hear it. There were still guys probably grumbling at the local bar, at the restaurant, but it wasn't so prolific like it is now. And it's easy to blame the landowners. It's easy to blame the game and fish. It's easy to blame everybody except yourself, and if you're pointing fingers at other people, there's, one finger pointing at them, and there's, four of them coming back at you, or three of them,
Yeah. I better get to this before we get into our political side, okay? Clay says, my first shotgun I ever used was my grandpa's old Montgomery Ward 12-gauge. Montgomery Ward, that's a blast from the past, huh?
Yeah, that's back when you could order your house from Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, Sears catalog, too. Worked great and did the job as a kid. The first one he ever purchased was a Winchester Model 120 12-gauge. Now he grabs the Browning BPS 12 most of the time. First hunt was grouse hunting on his grandpa's place. Finally got one after several attempts, and my grandpa actually is the one who taught me how to clean that grouse back then, too. So, all right. Are you ready to get political?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Always.
So, South Dakota friends, here's the issue that's going on, is this for North Dakota's pronghorn antelope season this year, gratis tags or landowner tags. It was a landowner lottery, and if you did not weren't successful in getting your landowner one, you could have got into the regular lottery, and then your chances are as good as everybody else's, right? So there was a lot of landowners that did not get a tag in some units, and they're a little bit angry about that, right? As they probably should be, because they've been getting them for years and years and years and years. Also in North Dakota, in elk season, it's the gratis tags or landowner tags for elk is a lottery. They started that years ago, and that's the way it's always been, a landowner lottery. So you might get one maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years, if that, maybe longer, maybe shorter. And the difference is, though, on elk, you can hunt anywhere in that unit. With gratis antelope tags, you still have to hunt on your own property. So now the rumbling of the rumors are that they want to go and do the same thing with the deer gratis tags in North Dakota to make it a landowner lottery. And then if you want to get into the regular draw, you sure can. Not guaranteed a tag or anything like that, but that's the rumbling going on there, John. What say you? Am I right or wrong on this?
Well,
that's kind of what their people are wanting to see happen.
Right. And I did read an article, and like I said, I'm not sure where it was at, but I saw it, and I put it on our on Facebook and asked what people thought. But it was about, the problem with gratis tags and, what happened with the antelope, and people are talking, landowners maybe shouldn't get gratis tags. They should be put in the lottery, and they want to change things because, the numbers are low and people aren't getting drawn. And again, I can see both sides of it, because I know there's units out east that we were talking to one guy, and, you get your youth tag as a kid, and you're talking 8 to 9 years before you get another tag in that unit, because the numbers were so low because of the die-off from the winter. And I'm not going to point you anywhere or anything like that, because if some butts were beer and nuts, we'd have a heck of a party type deal. There's a lot of things we could do. We just didn't do them.
Yeah.
And I think we got to look forward and go on to that. But again, I think you're a slippery slope when you start taking things away from landowners.
Yep.
And again, I do understand Joe Public, but what you got to understand, and Joe Public's got to understand, is that North Dakota is 96% private. 81% of all deer in this country of ours are shot on private land. That means 80% of the deer are on private land. And there's nothing anybody can do. It will never change, we would probably see another civil war, is that if you try to take away landowner rights and things like that. And so when deer are on my property, they basically are mine. The state can call them theirs all they want, but they're not. They're on my property. No one can shoot them except me, And what Joe Public has got to understand is that whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is. And, some guys will say, well, just go buy your own land. Well, I know people can't buy their own land. But again, think about it. 80% of all deer shot on private land. That means friends and families of landowners come, and we invite other people. and those friends and family count as Joe Public. So there's a lot of people getting to hunt on private land. And if you start taking away, which they've started to whittle away, we used to be able to get our gratis tag anytime we wanted. Now we have to apply for it. You're going to cause animosity between the landowners and the general public that's not going to be able to be mended.
There's already that animosity right now.
Sure, there is, and there's a group of people that constantly complain. They're not afraid to complain and say that we get subsidies, we do this, we don't own the deer, all that stuff. I get hammered all the time, and people have no idea how many people I take hunting. No idea, but I'm the bad guy because I have a ranch and I got a TV show, and it makes it look like I don't take anybody hunting, and that's not true, and it's no different than you. And I can remember being a kid where this was the Heart River block, and they didn't let anybody hunt because somehow the Game and Fish did something or another to these group of people down here, and they shut it down. And I think it's a slippery slope when you start biting the hand that feeds you, and you're talking about ranchers and farmers that actually do feed you, and keep this world going around. But they also have the access to the land that you love to enjoy and hunt and fish on. So there's got to be some kind of common ground we come up with to, and Joe Public's also got to understand that when numbers are down, their chances may be down.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. You may not think it's fair, but again, I don't think people realize what it costs to run a ranch or even own 2,000 acres and not even ranch it yourself. Just the cost of taxes, the fences, the wells, all that stuff. No one's helping me. No one's giving me money. I don't charge to hunt. No one, I just got friends that come out and help me. So I think people got to rethink what they're talking about.
Well, let's get to some comments here. They're coming in here. Let's see. One is, you'd be surprised who says no because they don't want their big deer scared away by getting access from our earlier discussion. And, I can see that. I can, but if it's their property, it's their privilege to say no. Mayor says, don't mess with the landowner stuff. And that's coming from a South Dakota point of view because, I really feel, South Dakota went through that through Hardin County years ago where the whole county shut off and said, no, you're not getting access. Nobody's getting access to anything. And they worked it out. They really did. Granted, the South Dakota Game Fish Parks are, they have a commission instead of, that's kind of how the rules are made. A little bit different than North Dakota, but I feel that, when I discuss things with any of the ranchers and down in the Hardin County or western side of South Dakota, it seems like they have a very good relationship with the landowners now. It's they really take their advice, and I don't see that as much sometimes here in my area. Levi says, I had 1 gratis antelope point, 4 state antelope points, but when I drew my gratis tag, they took all his points away. He has no chance of drawing a state tag for a long time now. Which, yeah, I don't like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's okay. Do we get subsidies? I don't see the subsidies coming in here for me. Where I don't see that. There's a lot of places that don't take any subsidies. Everybody hears about these farming subsidies. Sit down with a farmer and go through their spreadsheets and see how that subsidy works. See how much money they're putting into that cornfield that every animal's going in there, including raccoons and badgers and coyotes and eating. Okay, the amount of inputs that these landowners are putting in. If you look on the ranching side, there's not much we have to pay for insurance, right? It's not like we get it for free. You got to take insurance out on whether it's forage or grass insurance, and you still got to pay for it. This year I'm paying in and I get 0 out of it because we had rain this year.
Right.
So, it depends on the year, but if you're mad at some of these farmers because they're getting subsidies, sit down and go through what their expenses are to put this stuff together. And don't tell me like right now, I would love to sit on some of these cornfields that are still out there and do some bow hunting, because that's where some incredible deer are. Okay. It'd be great to sit on that. And he says also Gene says everybody gets a subsidy or a tax deduction. In one way or another, everybody does. That's true.
Well, it is, and it's one of those deals. If Scott Bachmeyer got $10,000 back from with the government for whatever, or Billy Bob got 800,000, that's your own business. It's not
Exactly.
mine.
Yeah.
We
what
all
is
have
that?
we all have our own life, and we choose what we want to do, and it's your choice to work at be a rancher. My choice to be a teacher. Again, I was fortunate that my dad had some foreshadowing and got some land, but he paid for it. He worked his butt off.
Yeah.
And yes, it was given to me, but we, as kids, we worked hard to earn what we got later on down the road. And again, it's, you know, sometimes you're just fortunate. And my dad his family was potato farmers and sold cigarettes. So it's not like it was a silver spoon. My family wasn't wealthy. My dad worked.
Yeah.
And and that's a great thing about this country. You can start with nothing. And there's guys that have way more than me, that some of them were given it and some of them have worked for it. And that's just the way this world is. And I've never understood why we want to bite the hand that feeds us. And there's no way that you treat a rancher poorly and, pee in his Cheerios and then go ask him to hunt, and that's what people want to do. I just don't understand it. It's like, how do you think you're going to get to hunt? And those are people that honestly, I could say, quit hunting because you're not doing anybody any good. You're probably not helping anybody. You're probably not doing anything. You're being selfish, and you're being rude to these people. And again, it takes both sides. I know there's some bad ranchers and some bad farmers that might be kind of the guys, but
oh yeah, there's bad on both sides. So there's a few more comments I want to get to before we're getting kind of tight here on the radio side. In the 1990s, this text message that came in, he said, I hunted antelope in Montana 2 times in North Dakota, never got turned down. So back home where I have a lot of turkeys and I let people hunt the turkeys because people were nice to me out in Montana, and then return a favor, some of my family members get mad, they let them go. But I have so many turkeys, it doesn't matter. And I can see that family members getting kind of pissy about that. Let's see. Gary says, slippery, steep slope here. We all must remember that the landowner is the steward of the land and all of its wildlife and habitat. Game and Fish Departments, let's see. Game and Fish Departments, don't mess with that. Let's enhance those relationships. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Gary's come out and done some fencing out here for me too. So, and also, Gene says, by the you get a subsidy argument, ranchers and farmers should get to go into town and swim in somebody's pool. I'm sure they would take a tax deduction somewhere too. Yeah.
It's just one of those deals. You can't do it. People, and then they say, we're going to turn into Europe. We're going to turn into Texas. Well, again, Texas, it's free market. And if that's what happened, that's what happened. I mean, and I don't agree with it, but you can't get mad at Texas because these guys are landowners and they can do whatever they want. They can let one person, they can let 1,000 people. And what people don't understand is, it's like we have a 2,000 acre ranch. If I let more people hunt on our place, and it's like guys that want to, well, you got elk hunter. I said, well, occasionally. Well, can I come elk hunt? I said, yeah, but you got to sit here. You got to sit here and you can't move. Well, why can't? I'm like, because we deer hunt it, And so I put all the work into deer hunt. I don't want someone walking through our stuff and then I'm not going to have a good chance at deer hunting. And again, it all comes down to just common sense, common courtesy. Get out there, and you do have to work at it a little bit, no matter what you do in life. It just, nothing is free in this world, whether you're a rancher, a teacher, or whatever. To be good at something, to get privileges, you got to work at it.
And that's the thing. Know your difference between privilege and rights. And a guy Daryl told me in North Dakota, it is a right to hunt. It is in the century code. So there you go. We're up against the end already, John. How fast did that go? I appreciate you taking time on a Saturday, sitting on top of a hill. And thank you so much for what you do and bring to the table, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
You bet. John Arman, Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. Find them all across any social media network. Thanks for tuning in today. Eat some meat, drink some milk, wear fur and wool. And I say it every time. Support those ag industry, farmers and ranchers out there and private landowners. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody. Well, there you go, John. Hopefully the radio stations have turned us down so we can do our last little grind your gears if anybody's got grindings to go on to here.
That the last comment about our Constitution,
Yeah.
North Dakota. I always think it's kind of funny. And again, it is our right. They call it the constitutional right. Well, our Constitution can be changed.
Yeah.
It's like if we got in a bunch of blue people that didn't like to hunt, our Constitution would say you can't hunt. And I believe that we have a right to hunt in North Dakota, but that does not mean you get to hunt wherever you want.
Right. Right.
Everybody's got the same opportunity. I always say that life isn't fair, but we all have the same opportunity. You have an opportunity, whether you're born rich, poor, whatever, you have an opportunity to better yourself, and it's no different than hunting. You have an opportunity, and I know guys that are killing machines, kill bigger animals than I do. They only hunt public.
Yeah.
And they're not whining. They just go out and they go hustle.
They just get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know guys that only hunt, private, and they get permission. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a pretty simple game. You just got to keep hustling at it. And if you love the sport enough, if you love basketball, you're going to get better at it because you're going to practice. And if you love hunting, you're going to practice at it. And part of that practice is, working on getting some permission somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, Shelby's boyfriend, Connor, and those kids, they hunt a lot of public and they hunt a lot of private, but it's all getting, as they call it, getting perm. They go out there and they knock on doors, and they're young kids, and they knock on doors and they get permission on some pretty good stuff.
Well, and all you have to do is ask. I mean, and you have to understand that you have to learn how to control yourself when somebody says no. And I think that's the thing, is everybody wants to stomp their feet and like, oh, come on, it's not always like that. So if I got a couple texts I got to tell you, it says like, look at Florida, hard to get on private land, they say, unless you pay for access. Well, they found some, they made friends through another friend, and now they have made a great relationship and have access to over 1,000 private acres to hunt on. Right. So it doesn't take much to try to get in on that. And so here's the thing. I got to read you this text from the father-daughter that I took out on Thursday. And this was the day after, right? And I took a whole bunch of pictures. I took a whole bunch of video, right? And they didn't know I was doing a lot of this stuff, and I sent it to him after we were done. That later on that evening or the next morning. He says he sent this text here yesterday morning. He says, one more note of appreciation. He said, I haven't seen Kiana struggle shooting like that before, and you were so patient and kind in working with us to get the opportunities. He said, it was great to meet you, praying for your cattle roundup, and hopefully you're feeling better because of my hip thing, the pelvic thing. Mm-hmm. It's little things like that go a long way for the next time if maybe one of his other daughters or he gets a tag.
Oh, yeah.
Little things like that go a long ways into the next time if they ever contact me again.
And that's the thing, is that it is the little things in life. We as, farmers and ranchers don't expect a guy to buy us a new tractor to come hunt. No. And how many times when guys offer, really, if a guy goes, well, I'll come out and help you fix fence, most of the time you say, don't worry about it, because there'll probably be more work having a guy come and help you than it's not. But it's just that the fact that they offered it to you,
right?
And I don't know. Like I said, I get frustrated because I think people have, again, to me, hunting it's not a right, it's a privilege. There's not many things in this world that are rights. We can call them our rights, but those rights can be all taken away really fast. And we've seen that. It's like you can have your rights, of hunting taken away. You can have your rights of everything. There's not many things you have in this life that people can't take away. I always say it's your character and who you are, and that's it. If somebody wants to be on the bad side and they want to get the FBI after you and say Stockmeyer's a criminal, guess what? They're coming to get you. There's nothing you can do.
Yep.
Oh
yeah. And without even justifying it, right? Like
absolutely.
Those red flag laws. So, Clay says, let's not forget that our gratis tags are not good for the entire property. Just those parcels that we have enter and getting, and that's exactly right. And I told John about my idea of if during the elk tag here in North Dakota, gratis tag, I can go statewide with it. If you're going to limit me to a gratis draw for a pronghorn, I should be able to hunt my entire unit. If you're going to do it for deer, I should be able to hunt my entire unit, because you can waste tags that way. Josh says, we had a landowner that let us come out a few times to shoot ground squirrels, and after a trip down, the next trip, we took them some adult beverages, and they said, we're welcome back anytime. It doesn't, we didn't have to do that, but we did it anyway. It doesn't take much. This pastor, Justin, and his daughter, they showed up with a little gift bag for me. It had salsa, jelly, and, what was the other jar or something? It had 3 preservatives in it, and a little stick of summer sausage, and a thank you card before we even went out hunting.
Yeah, it is nice, and I've had handwritten notes. Handwritten notes from kids, their first deer and stuff, and sent me and thank you, and that means the world to a guy.
What did they say? The fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Is what I heard somewhere.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. But yeah, I think people, like I said, I do feel that everybody feels like they're entitled. Yeah. And I understand how people feel, but it's like you can't sit and complain and bitch about it and think it's going to get better. And if you go knock on a door and the guy says no, you can't go down to the local place and say, yeah, I asked Jim, your neighbor, and he was an ass to me. It's like, that's not going to work. Yeah. You just say thank you and I appreciate it. If you ever have, if you're ever going to let anybody on, would you keep me in mind? And maybe he'll call you. You just don't know.
So here's something that if people are still listening that aren't familiar with landowners and neighbors. So I get along with all my neighbors, but whether I get along with them or not, I still respect them as neighbors.
Right.
If you come to me and say, well, like a lot of people come elk asking for elk, and they're all north. They're on my neighbor's cornfield right now. Right. That's where they're at. And if you come to me and say, well, I talked to so-and-so and, he was just an ass. And if you say that neighbor of mine is more of a friend than you are. So by you saying that kind of puts a big damper on any access at all. So, don't say that my neighbor's an ass. Don't say that, don't say that. Oh, I talked to so-and-so and he kind of, he probably was. Maybe he was, but don't tell me that.
Right.
That's like tattletale type stuff. It's like, I don't trust you if you're going to be saying stupid stuff like that.
No. And then going back to your thing about gratis tags, here's my philosophy on it. Like, if you wanted to be totally fair, so that Joe Public, so if I get a gratis tag, I can hunt on any private land. I can hunt my neighbors. I got to stay off of state land. I can understand that. They do that in Wyoming. Type 2, type 1. Yeah. So then they allocate X amount of tags for, say, the Badlands, like drawing a bow tag or whatever. If you're going to hunt public, it's a type 2 tag. And if you're going to hunt, or a type 1 tag. And if you're going to hunt private, type 1. So that way, if I get my gratis tag, I'm not taking anything away from the guy and I don't hardly ever hunt public land because we have our own land.
Yeah.
But even that would be better, because if your neighbors are going to let you hunt, they're not going to let Joe Blow hunt. So why not let the neighbor with the gratis tag? Why can't you share,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of changes we could make. I just don't know how to get them done. I've even tried to get the tagging, instead of saying tag immediately, tag upon removal of kill site.
Right, exactly.
Simple, and I can't get that through.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know.
It says text says things with neighbors. You want to be friends with your neighbor because when you go on vacation, your neighbor will put your cattle back in to get out.
Yeah,
it's true.
I saw a good one this morning. A guy had a steer that stuck his head through a panel trying to get water and was stuck. And it said, "This is why we eat them."
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy Jay sent me something along that line too. And it says, keep chasing your dreams, your stupid dreams.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. I better hit the road. I got to make it over to Montana to help work these cattle. So,
All right, buddy. Well, thanks again for everything.
Okay.
Appreciate it, like always.
yeah, appreciate you. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
You bet. Bye. All right, YouTubers. Thank you guys. Appreciate you sticking with me as well. And have a great weekend.